Yeah. Oh, there we go. We're live.
Uncle Ma the bet. I think we live now, Sin Jason.
Okay, my family. We are live. See us
Can you
on
hear me well, Sin?
YouTube. I can hear you just fine, Sam. I can hear you just fine.
My sound is a little choppy with hearing you, but I think we okay. You can hear me
Is
though.
it okay? Am I just low? Is it low?
No, you're not low. It's just it's chopping up. Can everybody else hear Sin Jason? Anybody in the comments? Can you tell? Can you hear both of us? Abu Shashat said the sound is a little scrambled. So Ned, is both of our sounds scrambled, or can you hear
Mine
Sin
okay.
Jason?
Let me try without this.
Ankh and Ma'at family. Son Jason, your audio is garbled for some reason, but I think we're hearing you clearly, Senator.
Okay, do I?
Okay, do I?
Maybe you could try to change your audio source and change it back to where you want it to be. Son Jason might reload the
Okay.
setting.
Okay, how about now? Can you hear me
Okay,
better
how
without the
about now?
headphones?
Can you hear me better without the headphones?
Yes.
Okay.
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 How about now,
Okay,
Sin?
am I
Are
good
you
now?
changing?
Okay.
Okay. Well, at any
Am
rate,
I good
Uncle
now?
Ma the bet.
Out of that.
You hear me okay now?
Um,
Uh,
still
still
choppy, Sin.
choppy, Sam.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see.
Son Jason, maybe you can go out and come back in. Hopefully that will work. We'll see.
Yeah, let me try
Yeah,
and
let me
go out
try and
and
go
come
out
back.
and come.
Yep.
Yep.
Bit of a delay.
Uncle Ma the bet. Want to welcome everybody to Kemetic Ascension today. I know you guys are probably surprised to see Sin Jason and I filling in today, but as members of the shrine, it's our duty to fill in where we can. Him Netter is not able to move forward with Kemetic Ascension today, but yet we are here in order to foster the environment where we can continue to learn and practice more of our spiritual tradition with one another. And so, in the tradition of Him That in Tepe, we all know how this begins. Let's everyone in the chat tell us where you're from and how long you have been watching Kemetic Ascension. We seen Abu Shashat in there. Uncle Ma to you, Him Netter. It's always a pleasure to see you here with us. I see Sinette. What's that? Sinette Cortia, Uncle Ma, Sinette Cortia. She's in Atlanta, and she's a member of Shimshu Haru. Much myrrh to you, Sinette. It's always good when you're here. Let's see who else we got. Oh, okay. You know what? For members of the shrine, especially for Shimshu. Oh, okay, St. Jason.
Okay, can you hear me any better now?
Oh yeah, we can definitely hear you
Okay,
much
how
better
about
now.
the audience? Can you all hear me better now?
I'm sure. I'm hoping that they can because I can hear you a
Okay.
lot better now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do I
you
do
good.
I
Sin.
a boots a shot?
So I was just taking a moment, Sin, to acknowledge everyone that has joined us in the room. I was just speaking on one of the initiates who initiated with us is in the chat, Sinette Nebseni, and it's a pleasure to have you here with us, Sinette. We've missed you for some time, right? Like we've been having a lot of things going on that we were hoping that you would be a part of, especially in the beginning of our initiation. So it's good to see you in the chat and good to see you still in the fold of the Shrine of Ma'at. And
Yeah,
so
man.
hopefully after this Kemetic Ascension, we'll be able to get we'll be able to speak with you more about some of the things that we've been doing and have been going on. So
Yeah.
one thing about
Real quick, San, just so you know, Sanet Nebsini, we've been asking about you. We've been wondering where you were. So it really is good to see you here today. Thanks for being here.
yeah, it is. And so also see Sin Ernest in the chat. That's Sin Haru Jehudi Pata Umika. He's another full member of the Shrine Simshu Haru member. Let us see. Someone says, "Where's the professor?" The professor is not here today. We are filling in for him, and not that we can even do, justice for what he does, but we're gonna bring our flavor to Kemetic Ascension today. We're gonna do the best that we can in order to keep the audience engaged and learning about. This Kemetic spirituality and way of life. Who else do we have in the chat?
We've got Ronald Green, who's always here with us, I believe from Alton, Illinois. I lived in Alton, Illinois for a while. Thanks for being here, Sinran. We've got Leanne Harry, Anke Ma'at. Thank you for being here. We've got, who's this? I believe that's Kerr Homesteadology. Thank you
Okay.
for being here. Dua. Let's see. We've got Heru Jehuti, Patai, Yumika, Tim Ra, who's always here with us. Anke Ma'at Sin, thanks for being here.
And that's I'm sorry, Sin, but that's Sin Ernest.
Oh, that's Sin Ernest.
Yeah.
Sin Ernest. Okay. Glad to have you here, Sin Ernest. Haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully we can connect soon.
St. Ernest will be out that way next year for the Simsu Heru 22 reunion. We're planning to do it in Phoenix next year, so hopefully we'll get a chance to link up with you again. It's been so long since some of us have seen each other.
Right. Yeah, I think last time we actually saw you was what? Initiation, wasn't it? New York?
Yep, it was initiation, of which we had such a good time. Family, let me tell you, for those of you who are not necessarily members of the Shrine, let me tell you that when we get together, we have a good time, right? Like some of the things that you see us do online is only a portion of what we actually do in the background. A lot of what we do is not necessarily public and publicized. But let me tell you, when we get together, we have a good time. We have an edifying time to where we're always learning from one another. We have a good social time to where we have good conversations and things like that. And we also take the time to bond with one another. And I think it's important for us to remember that as being members of not only this community, but of this shrine, it's important for us to remain steadfast in those bonds. And it's interesting because before we jumped on, since Jason and I were talking about how we can do some more organization to organization bonding and connecting in this community, especially off the back of the Happy and the Shy event that was just a couple of weeks ago. And the focus or the main idea of the whole weekend was unity, right? Like, so I think that as we move forward within our community, we need to talk about how we can unify as groups and organizations, as opposed to, we do this on an individual level, but I think it's time for us to start looking at how we can organize our resources and things like that in order for us to get things done on a more global scale as far as Africans of the diaspora. So I think it's interesting. Said, St. Jason, where you in, or where in Alton do you live? Do you have family there? You know, Alton is not far from East St. Louis, right, Sam?
Yeah, it's about 30 miles. I lived in, not ashamed to say, when I lived in Alton, I lived in Joesting Projects,
Okay,
and I lived in Alton Acres also, and I do have family in Alton. I have two sons in Alton, two adult sons, and I think one of them, yeah, they both are still in Alton. Yep. So yeah, I lived there for about 5 years, and actually, when I moved here to Nebraska, I moved here from Alton. So
okay.
yep, I lived in the projects. I sure did.
That's good. But you know what, Sam, though, you know, I've had some interesting interaction with some guys from East St. Louis and stuff like that. You know that.
Yeah.
I met some guys from Alton, right? It's interesting. You don't really know, especially in, well, I would say in Illinois and being from Chicago, us being the big city, and you never realize how many people are in some of these other places that can really add to the you know, the whole overall progression
Right.
of us as a community. But then even on an individual level, I never thought, you couldn't have told me at 18 years old that I would be learning so much from these guys who weren't from where I was from, which helped me gain a different perspective on life as far as listening to elders and things of that nature. And so I think
Right.
that's
Right.
important.
Right.
We got Sin Rich in there. Uncle My Sin Rich.
Rocking my odds, Sin Rich. Good to see you here. Wish we were
Sin
all
James, a
right.
full member of the shrine. Uncle My Sin.
Rocking my odds, Sin James. Good to see you here. We've got Nile King 77799. Welcome, Nile King. Glad to have you here. And I think that's all we have right now. Look back a little bit. And of course, we have our beloved Abutsa Shot in the building, as always. Ankemad Abutsa Shot.
Uncle My from the shrine of Sekhmet, and that's exactly what we talking about. Sin, we talking about marrying some of these, or well, not necessarily, but you know what I mean, marrying some of these organizations together so that we can start to become again more progressive in our community. And there's so many things that members are doing, not only members of the shrine but members of this community as well. A lot of the things aren't necessarily publicized, so to speak, but I think that that's something that we'll work on, starting to make some of the things that we're doing in the background more public, so that people have a clear understanding of what this what it's like to be a Kemetic practitioner, right? Because it's not just uh, learning and reading. It's not just scholarship all the time, right? Scholarship plays a big part in what we do. But again, being a Kemetic practitioner means that you are Wat Ma'at, right? Like you live the ways of Ma'at in everything that you do. Whether it's and again, it's what you think, it's what you say, and it's what you do, right? Like, and we do our best to stay within that balance. And so again, just bringing forth more of what's going on in the background, how we do this every day, right? Like, because we see each other here on Kemetic Ascension on Sundays, but it's 6 other days throughout the week, right? Like, how do you Wat Ma'at during those days? And that's
Right.
an important part of having a community and having people that you can relate to in this way of life, that helps you to understand how to be the best person that you can be. And
And like
so
blissfully evolving 22 said, it's a way of life. That is correct. I
exactly.
believe that's Sinette Cheryl, if I'm not mistaken. I'll give my eye Sinette Cheryl. Good
Is
to see
that
you here.
okay?
I
It's
believe
Annette.
that's who that
All right,
is.
we haven't seen heard from you in a while, so that is good to see you here.
It is, yeah, definitely. Hopefully, we can see many more of you next year in Phoenix. for the Shemsu Heru reunion. And please remember, if you're not a member of Shemsu Heru, that does not exclude you from joining us at our reunions. We had this last reunion, which was really a great one. We had members from several different classes, I would say, joined us, and we had a wonderful time. So I hope more of you can join us next year.
Yeah, we most definitely did. We had a Nefer time, and then not only that, we did some real work, right? Like we did some real spiritual work, and we were able to again just bond with one another under some circumstances that we would not necessarily be in other than unless we put those circumstances together. So we created a space where we could all be vulnerable with one another in order for us to have certain spiritual growths and things like that. And so again, it was dynamic and powerful. And actually, Sinet Shinkai actually played some of what we did in Detroit on this morning for adoration. And so if you haven't had a chance to get a look at some of what we do, then I encourage you to go back and just take a look at how again how practitioners are applying this Kemetic spirituality to our everyday lives. I know we used to seeing him, Netter, and Tepi up here. But again, it's important for us to understand that some of us are doing this every day, and it looks different for all of us, but we're all working towards the same goal. So I think
Definitely.
that's important. So
Definitely.
let us go through this a little bit more. And I think obviously before we begin seeing, we should start with the opening of the way.
Of course.
Now, we don't necessarily have the full access to this StreamYard right now in order to bring anybody on for the opening of the way. So I think it's probably best if we just do it ourselves for the sake of time and for the sake of technology, that we lead the opening of the way so that we can just progress forward with the lessons today. So.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And so everyone knows, again, that this is not theater and that you should all be rising to join us as we perform this ceremony, this ritual that was given to us by our elder ancestor, Baba Heru Ankh Rashomai Sepatai, that has given us an example, not necessarily an example, but a format that we can remember our divinity and stay grounded in what we are doing. So, Sin, if you want to lead the way, I'm a mute actually and follow behind you so that we don't have a whole lot of
A lot of feedback.
feedback.
Okay, I'll do it. Those of you who don't know, when we do the opening of the way, we stand in what we call the pose of adoration. That would be your left hand extended and the right hand extended. You want your left hand slightly forward and slightly above your right hand, and we do the same with our feet. We have our left foot forward, right foot slightly back, and we start with the divine word of life, which is Ankh. Let's rock in that head. Luke in that head. Let's rock happy. Luke happy. While winter. Let's rock circuit. Luke circuit. And let's rock Ketsanoof. Luke Ketsanoof. While winter. And let's rock Ost. Nuke Ost. And that's right, I'm set. Nuke, I'm set. Dwa winter. And that's right, meat. Nuke meat. And that's right, Dwa tef. Nuke Dwa tef. Dwa winter. And that's right, newt. Nuke newt. And that's right, Geb. Nuke Geb. Dwa winter. And that's right, shoe. 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 Nuke. Shoe. And that's right, tefnut. 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 Nuke tefnut. Dwa winter. And that's right, out in Peru. Nuke out in Peru. And that's right, in Boo in Peru. Nuke and Boo in Peru. Dwa winter. Dwa winter. Dwa. Family for joining us.
Dua for that, Sin. Thank you so much for leading us in the opening of the way. Oh, hold on, let me bring my camera back there.
Sin, I'll get my Melanation app, Sin Jehudi. Is my sound choppy again?
It's actually fine. Now I said it might have got choppy when you step further away from the.
Further away. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I
forgive
think
me having such an old laptop.
yeah, it'd be like that. Now we know that at this part of Kemetic Ascension, we would normally do Hesse. But I think for the sake of time, we might need to skip. You want to skip Hesse Sin, or do you want to lay down some tracks? You want to lay down some vocals for us or something?
I'm not the most harmonious person, so I'm perfectly okay if we skip Hesse. Unless you wanna, unless you wanna show your pipes, it's like.
Now listen,
Hesse.
my lungs have limited capacity at this point, so I can't. I would be the wrong person to be doing Hesse, and we apologize for that because we could have had that kind of queued up and ready for us, but we filling in kind of at the last minute, so please forgive us. But just know that Hesse is a way that we are able to give praise and adoration, not only to the Neteru, the universe, but to our ancestors and things as well. It may be best described as gospel music, but wouldn't necessarily call it that. I would like to call it more African spiritual, right? Like it's a way for us to galvanize the energies that are around us and kind of be intentional with them, so to speak, right? Like harness those energies in order for us to manifest the things that we need to. And so Hesse is extremely important for doing that. Unfortunately, my brother and I are not Hesse qualified. And so what we will tell you do though is that throughout your day, and one thing I think is interesting, seeing, look, that's what's that at Dash Harab says Hesse is my favorite part. You got it.
Well, you can, Dasharab, you can feel free to, you can chant your Hesse while we're going along.
Of course,
I
of
know
course.
Hesse, a lot of people do like that part of the of Ascension, but we don't want to ruin your day with our non-harmonious
Yeah.
voices. So,
And like I was saying, though, right? I think we kind of think of Hesse as being gospel music, so to speak. But I think that you can find it's. I think that you can find inspiration and the right vibe, so to speak, with some traditional or contemporary music as well, right? Like I think that the same processes that it would take in order to conjure up a Hesse. And when I say conjure it up, we understand that these musical notes and tones and inspirations and things like that come from outside of us, right? Like they're inspired by the universe and things like that. So I think that the same processes that will conjure up the Hesse also are the same processes that conjure up some of our contemporary music, so to speak. So if you look, I'm pretty sure everyone has that one song or that one tone or that vibe that they hear that kind of puts you in a mood and a place to where you can take advantage of that energy. And so I encourage you all to just find that moment today, and always moving forward. As African people, how in tune we are with the drum and our music and things of that nature. So and I would say, and this is my opinion, right? I would say that Hesse doesn't necessarily have to be that gospel music that we hear, right? Like it could be inspiration that was given to Aretha Franklin, right? She might hit that note that you feel that may make you be inspired to do something else. And so I would encourage all of you all to kind of take Hesse for yourself today, right? Like, what's that? And let's get some examples from some people in the chat. Give us some examples of some of those songs or tunes or lyrics that help to inspire you in a more spiritual or in a greater way, as opposed to the face value of what's being sung. I think one of the ones that I can think of right off top, saying, and it's interesting because when we were at the Hoppy and the Shy event, I just kept thinking about Frankie Beverly, right? Like, we are one.
mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's interesting how that those lyrics and that song like kind of fit the theme and the mold for that weekend, and it literally could have been the theme song for the weekend. But again, I think it's interesting if we look at the way I think the same processes that inspire you to write beautiful hymns to the Aten, right? Like Akhenaten, the same inspiration that gives him that is the same inspiration that would help our contemporary artists. So I think we got a million
A Million
signs.
Signs. I was just looking that up because I'm not familiar with that one. A Million Signs by Vividry. I'm gonna have to check
Yeah,
that out,
I'm not familiar with that one. I'm gonna
Finney.
have to check that one out too.
And
Uh
I do want to say this about Hesse as well as the opening of the way and many of the rituals and things that we do. Of course, with Hesse, you are galvanizing divine energy. But with these rituals and these, like singing the songs, the Hesse and everything, the one thing that you can get from both of those, they're both there. All of those rituals and things are there to remind you that you are divine. You are of
wow.
whatever you call God or whatever deity you know worship, or however you want to say it. it reminds you that you're made of the same thing. You're made of that. You are a part of that. So whatever you see as divine is a part of you and you are a part of it. That's one of the main tenets of Hesse, opening of the way, and all of our rituals. So just a
Do I?
reminder of that.
Do I? And just to emphasize what you're saying again, that is a fundamental principle of Kemetic spirituality and African philosophy, right? Is that you are divine. And so if you move forward with that in everything that you do, then you move divinely. You move like you're divine, right? Like, so if we look at the way our ancestors depicted themselves on the walls and in statues and things like that, they moved with their left foot forward, right? Like there's many different ways that we can look at and break down this depiction. But I think one of the things that we can look at is the fact that the Nasud, he's moving forward with his left foot. Uh, that's showing his divinity, right? Keeping in mind that he's moving forward with his divinity, as we know that his heart is on that side of his body. So I think that's important that we think about that. And again, this one of the ways that we can remember our divinity, right? Like this, if
Yes.
you in Kemetic spirituality, again, these fundamentals present themselves in different many instances, right? And this is just another instance of how you recognize your divinity, is just being aware of it and moving forward with it with that left foot. And so I think that's extremely important for us to remember.
All right, and definitely a booster shot. I see your comment. I went to the D Nice concert in Brooklyn, and Stephanie Mills sang. I had to hold on to my chair for dear life while her powerful voice went through my body as I cried like a baby. I had an experience like that with Stephanie Mills in St. Louis one time. I went to see her in concert, and she sang home, and I couldn't stop the tears from running. Tears of joy, because her voice just does something to me whenever I hear Stephanie Mills. Her voice does something to me. She sang home, and I was done for the night. I didn't need to see anything else, but I stayed, and she did good all over. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I feel you on that, Abusi Shot. I feel you on that completely.
And I think that's a really important concept for us to think about, and it's something that we've been doing throughout history, right? Like if you've ever been to Chicago to the what's now the Institute for the Study of Ancient Culture, they have a sahu of a sister there who was a temple singer, and from the explanation that they have, she was extremely popular, right? Like she was extremely popular. And so I think it's interesting when we look at how we and how we perceive things to be today, they aren't really different, that much different from what our ancestors experienced and kind of went through, right? The same things that inspired them and the talents and things of that nature, we still hold and harness to this day. And so it's important for us to be able to make those connections with the present and the past, because as practitioners, it's important for us to understand how not only our ancestors understood these concepts, but it's important for us to understand how they understood these concepts so that we know how to apply them today, right? Like so, when we look, like you just said, when we look at Hesse, so to speak, right, we don't necessarily have to. It don't necessarily have to be the lyrics, like Sinette Abu Shah said, and you just said that powerful voice, that being able, that ability to harness those energies and have it affect people is something that I think Africans have been able to master throughout time. And so it's important again that we look at these historical concepts and understand how they fit into our daily lives. And so,
Do I? And just real quick, we got a few new people in the building. We have, I believe, Sinette Niambi 172. I know you're always here, Sinette. Dua for being here. Uncle Ma'at. We have Jose Francis 2370. Dua for being here, Jose Francis. Uncle Ma'at to you as well. We've got Jehudi Mess 2899. I believe that is our beloved Sin Jehudi Mess from Canada, who we were just with in Detroit. Good to see you here, Sin, if that's you. Uncle Ma'at to you, my brother.
I
And
believe that that might be Sinja Hootie Miss, which me and Sinja Hootie Miss in a low key fashion competition. Well, I'm not gonna say a fashion
I know, right?
competition, but I see him. He done went to the Nubia store and went crazy. Huh? I
Yeah,
got to go
he
re
kind of
up
he
now.
bought him out. He bought him out.
Listen, I'm not mad at him. I'm happy that we are able to support one another in the things
Yes.
that we do, and so I'm happy. We all are customers of that specific brand, and so I'm glad to see him representing ancient African uh imagery as opposed to because he up there doing competitions and stuff like that. He could be walking around in Under Armour or this or that or one of those other brands, but the fact that he's representing the ancient Nile Valley culture, I think is extremely important. So
Yeah,
um,
and I think I missed one. We have Truly, and I'm probably gonna butcher your handle here. If I do, I apologize. But we got Truly. It's MDLULI. I don't know how to pronounce that, but dua for being here. Anke Ma'at to you. And let's see, and that's it.
all right. All right, so let's move through our presentation, so to speak, and so that we don't take up too much more time. And we'll kind of go through it. Uh, I don't want to say quickly, but we'll kind of be brief with these sides. Let me see if I can get ready to share my screen. And what we want to talk about today uh, is the parts of the soul. Um, for those who aren't members of the Shrine of Ma'at, one of the things that we do in the background is we study the primary sources, right? Like we study the ancient texts, and that's a part of our Seba'it study. And so, since Jason and I helped to create that space to where we are able to come together and complete those studies. And so, what we want to do is just reshare one of the discussions that we all had together concerning the parts of the soul. And I think it's important for us to understand these different parts and how they work together, because it helps you get a better understanding of who you are, right? Like it helps you understand how you're moving and things like that. If you have a clear uh, philosophical understanding, so to speak, of how you come together. So let me share my screen here. Let me see. Share screen.
Anke Ma'at Niyamara. Thanks for being here. Dua to you.
Now, okay, you can't see my screen yet, but hopefully him, Netta, and Teppy is in the background and is able to share this. This is where we may run into a dilemma as in, because I'm not sure how available he is.
Mm,
Now, I know he said he would be in the background.
let me see if maybe which slide were you wanting to start with, Sin. I'll see if maybe I can present it.
Oh, the very first one. Are you able to present it? Let me stop presenting mine and see if you can.
Let me see. I can give it a try. Um,
And again, we want to just thank everybody for being here and for support. And this is something that I'm hope that you all should get familiar with, right? Seeing more faces here on Kemetic Ascension as opposed to seeing him, Netta, and Teppy every other Sunday. You'll start to hear more from some of the shrine members and getting the idea of some of the things that we're doing, as well as in the shrine as well as personally. We get a idea of again what it's like to be a Kemetic practitioner. I know that there's a lot of rhetoric and confusion and things like that going around about what we do and how we should do it and things like that. But one thing we need to understand is that no one does everything the same way. Neither one of us have. Okay, there we go.
there we go.
Well, let me see if I can. You got it up there saying, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Are you able to make it make it full screen, Sam?
Let's see.
Go up there to should be up there where it says slideshow and start slideshow.
Let's see. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing that, Sam. Um, um, no, it's not giving me that, Sam.
Let me see. Um, it should be slideshow, like right there. It should say. Does it saying is it showing you at the top of above? Yeah, it should be above transition. It should show our little icons and then slideshow to the right.
It's got a banner there that is where I can stop where I can stop sharing. So it
That's
may
it.
be covered. Yeah, that's all it has there. So
Okay. Well, we can move forward like this then. This is fine.
okay.
Ankh and Ma'at just popping in real quick. Is there a slideshow mode for this?
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen. Since Jason is sharing his, but I wanted to share mine
Right.
because I had better control.
Oh.
Well, here,
So put yours up and let's see if I can make that work. Okay,
let
let's
me
okay,
take mine
let's
down then. Let me take mine down.
I think that both your phones were closed.
Okay, there we go. Okay, do I him that I think we got it. Okay, yeah, I'll present. Okay. All right. And so again, am I choppy now?
No, you sound fine, Sam.
I know it sounds like my sound is choppy now, Sam. It
hear you
is.
fine.
You can hear me?
I can hear you fine.
It's kind of choppy for me, but as long as you can hear me, I'm
Okay, him better, you probably need to mute. That might be what it is. Okay, how about now?
it's possible that maybe send Jason, you could mute while because he has another screen open. Is that a whole
Okay,
nother
that
machine
may
that
be
you're
what it
working
is. Let
from,
me do that.
Senaton, with the presentation?
I'm gonna make a list of places
Just
that I want to
another,
go.
just another screen, the
Window.
same screen.
Okay, so I'm not sure why we're hearing echo, but let's give it a try. I'm going to mute out and go to the background, and you all continue, and we'll see how it works.
Okay. Sin Jason, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Sam.
And I'm not choppy. Can everyone else hear us?
You're not choppy on my end. Let's see what the
I
audience
see
says.
Sin.
The choppiness, I believe, is on Sen Jason's end.
Sin Jason, go out and come back in again. Let's see if that works. Okay, so we'll let Sin Jason back in and then get started. I see Melanation app, which is our beloved Jati from Benue, William Humphrey. He says, I think the sound issue is with StreamYard. I was having issues myself with it last week. This is something saying do offer there, but this StreamYard is something that since Jason and I haven't worked with a lot, so we're still getting kind of used to how it works and how to present with it. And so some of these kinks will start to work out as we get more familiar with how to use this platform. Sin Jason, you muted, but can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, Sam. I think, yeah, it may be on my end that's causing the problem. I'll stay muted while you speaking.
No, you don't necessarily have to stay muted. You fine. You fine now. We can hear you perfectly clear now. At least I can. Can everybody else hear Sin Jason clear now? At any rate, as we wait for a response, we'll continue to move forward with our presentation. And so, again, this is a discussion that we've had in our Sebait discussions. And so we just wanted to bring some of this to the public again and just talk about some of the understanding and philosophical concepts that Kemetic practitioners talk about and not talk about, but that we study and how our ancestors were able to make sense of some of these deep philosophical concepts that tend to play out on a physical level, so to speak. I hope I was kind of clear with that. But okay, let's move forward. Oh, you know what? I got to do it over here. I'm sorry. Okay, the first thing we want to do in what we're doing always is to give honor and homage to our ancestors. As we know, a traditional African proverb says that when an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. And we want to dispel this narrative, but we have to, as African practitioners, as Kemetic practitioners, and as Africans, a part of the diaspora, I think that we need to start changing this narrative, so to speak, right? Like the library shouldn't burn down when the elder makes his transition now, right? Like we should be at the foot of our elders, learning everything that we can in order that we're able to pass this knowledge on to subsequent generations. And I think that that's an important concept that we need to start taking into our understanding, is how can we better equip the next generation as early as possible so that when we are losing elders who are becoming ancestors, that we're not just left confused about what we need to do next. We should have a better understanding and a deeper understanding of how our ancestors are viewing these concepts and how they are being practitioners so that we can build off of that. And again, we just want to say to our beloved elder ancestor Heru, falcon-headed, child of Austin Asar and one of leadership, we praise you and tend to your shrine, right? And when we say shrine, we not only mean our spiritual organization, but we also mean ourselves as well, right? Like your own personal body temple shrine, the organization that you're a part of, your household, all of these, which can be considered shrines, deserve the attention, and you have to give them the attention that they need in order for them to function well. And one of the things that Baba Heru taught us was that was the importance of remaining in that divinity, right? Like again, as we talked about the opening of the way, remaining in your divinity is important. And if we take that concept into everything we do, then we create divine spaces all around us, right? Like, so now your body is the temple and it's divine. Your home is the temple and it's divine. Your workspace and these things of that nature. So as we give honor and homage to Baba Heru, our elder ancestor, I think that's one of the ways that we can do that is by tending to our shrines, no matter what that shrine is or where it is. And so, again, before we do anything, we want to make sure we give honor and homage to our ancestors. St. Jason, you want to add to that?
Yeah, just that, like you said, tending to the shrine, the temple, your body is certainly your probably your main temple. But acquiring that knowledge, whatever knowledge you acquire from the elders, it's important that we pass that along to the next generation to keep that quote unquote library going so it doesn't burn to the ground. So that's all I would say on that. Just keep the knowledge and wisdom going, keep passing it down, and the library will remain erect.
Do I? And let us, okay, now. This is, we're going to skip past this opening of the way because we've already performed that. But again, for those who are not familiar with the opening of the way and how to perform it, this video can be found on YouTube. And you can use this as a guide on how you should do it in a proper way of doing it. One of the things that I do with this video, though, seeing is on days where I'm moving too much and I'm unable to get in the motions, I will still at least play the video and listen. Or I will, a lot of times when I'm on my way to work, I'll do the ritual in my head, visualizing it, right? Still calling out the names, but unable to do the motions, but taking that time to just, again, just place myself in my divinity as I'm moving forward throughout the day. It's important for us to make sure that we begin everything that we do in the right frame of mind. This ritual will help you to not only get yourself in the right frame of mind, but also the your surroundings will still be. I mean, it will help you get your surroundings in that same place as well.
Yeah, we all know how life moves sometimes. We aren't able to just stop and do the opening of the way, but like Senaton said, you can always play that video and just put your mind state there, and it's you get the same effect from it.
Yeah. And so we like to start our Sebai studies with a quote of wisdom. And today's quote of wisdom is coming from the elder Muata Ashby. And he says that by living a life based on wisdom and truth, one can discover the divinity of the soul, its union to the universe, the supreme peace, and contentment which comes from satisfying the inner drive for self-discovery. And this is from his ancient Egyptian Proverbs text. And so again, as we continue with the same thing and talk about our divinity, and that we are divine, and that being one of the most fundamental concepts of Kemetic spirituality, it's important that we lay the framework for what we're talking about. And again, this elder explains to us that by living a life based on wisdom and truth, one can discover the divinity of the soul. So again, it's not you, and we talk about this all the time, saying you don't just become an elder. I mean, you don't just become an ancestor because you die. Just because you die does not make you an ancestor, right? Worthy of veneration, right? It's those things that you do throughout your lifetime that help you build up equity in those relationships, so that when you transition, the people who love you in your community still mourn your loss, and they want to have that connection with you. That's what makes you an ancestor. Though, and it's based off, again, like the elder said, based on the way you live your life today, right? Like unlike other traditions, you can't wait till you get to the end and before you give up the ghost and try to wash away all your sins. That's too easy, right? Like the universe doesn't work like that. It gives you what you give it. And so it's important for us to remember, right? Like as we talk about these concepts of the soul, it's important that we remember that these concepts only unify under a certain spiritual walk. So and I hope I kind of made that clear. Sin, you want to add?
No, go ahead. No, you pretty much said it, Sam.
Okay. All right, so we want to say dua to the Elder Muata Ashby for that quote of wisdom and that understanding of our own divinity. Now, let's talk about the parts of the soul. The soul was thought to consist of 9 separate parts, which were integrated into a whole individual but had very distinct aspects. Egyptologist Roselle David explains that the Egyptians believed that the human personality had many facets, a concept that was probably developed early in the Old Kingdom. In life, the person was a complete entity, but if he had lived a virtuous life, he could also have access to all multiplicity of forms that could be used in the next world. In some instances, these forms could be employed to help those whom the deceased wished to support, or alternately to take revenge on his enemies. In order for these aspects of the soul to function, the body had to remain intact. And this is why mummification became so integral a part of the mortuary rituals and the culture. In some areas, the soul was thought to be composed of 5, and in others 7, but generally it was 9. And so, again, the Egyptologist explains to us how, based on the scholarly understanding of the Kemetic culture, that they had this understanding that the soul was made of many different parts. But I think it's important for us to remember, we're going to continue with these same things. You're going to hear us constantly saying the same thing. It's important for us to remember, as was said here, the person had to live a virtuous life, right? He could access those multiplicity of forms. So again, it's about what you're doing on this while you're alive that helps you have a better understanding of these concepts and how to apply them, right? You don't wait until you die. You don't wait until you get on your deathbed to try to figure it out. It's constantly, it's ongoing, it's a daily Kepler process that helps you to understand who you are and the way that you're able to be the best person that you can possibly be, if that makes sense. Sin, you want to add to that?
No, I'll look forward to reading the next slide though.
Okay, well, here we go. I'm gonna move to it so that we can do that. And again, anybody has anything to add, any comments, questions, or anything concerned, please make sure you put them in the chat, because one of the things that you'll hear since Jason and I say in these spaces, that we would definitely not consider ourselves experts in any type of way, right? We're not, I'm not the authority on this understanding. I'm not the expert or anything. But what we want to do is to always foster spaces where we can come together and learn and have a clear understanding together, right? Like, so it makes no sense if I'm the only one that understand how this works, because we can't move forward as a community like that. It's important for all of us to have a understanding of these concepts and how they fit in our own reality, so that we can make them work for what we're doing, because what one person does is not conducive to what another one does. So let's us move. All right, Sin, you want to speak on this slide?
Yeah, these are some of the foundational texts that speak about the Egyptian or Kemetic soul. So the most significant ancient Egyptian text describing the nature and journey of the soul, a collection of ritual and philosophical writings written across millennia. Rather than a holy book, these texts acted as maps and magical guides to help the soul's separate parts survive eternity. So the first one would be the primary mortuary corpora. One being the misnomered Book of the Dead, which we call the Pert Imheru, or the Book of Coming Forth by Day. You have 200 papyrus spells about the Ib, weighing roughly 200 spells. You have texts about the Ba, or the personality, reunion with the mummified body. And then we have the coffin texts, which are 1,185 spells in Middle Kingdom coffins on Judgment, Book of Two Ways, which I just got really familiar with the Book of Two Ways. Haven't really went through it yet, but I think it's interesting. Then you have the Ba and guidance on the underworld, the Ak, or the guide gate on how it's spiritual, or how to deal with spiritual obstacles and shape shifting. Then we have the pyramid texts, which are the oldest religious writings from the Middle Kingdom tomb walls. They primarily focus on the pharaoh or the king's ascension to reside in the undying of the spirit. So the spirit or the soul never dying. Then we have literary and philosophical texts such as the dispute between the man and his Ba. That's from the Middle Kingdom. It's a philosophical poem. You have Papyrus Berlin 3024. That's where you would find that. It's in the Berlin Museum, I believe. And you have, that's a spiritual dialogue between a depressed death. I believe that's supposed to be the. I'm not sure. I think that's somebody misprinted that, but the value on the Noatir, I think
Yeah,
that's
yes. Some of this
yeah,
needs to
yeah.
be cleaned up a little bit better, but we know what we
Right,
referring to.
right. So it's I believe that's supposed to be the nature and value
Yeah,
on the nature of death, and it waits on the other, and what waits on the other side. And then we have Memphite theology, which the Memphite theology is basically the theology of our shrine, I would say. Some may disagree, but it's preserved on the Shabaka stone, and it describes the creation and the creation of Ptah, which is when Ptah creates what we know as the world or the universe, and creation via the ib, the heart, or the mind, which is based in the desire to experience the physical world. And this was done by Ptah speaking Heka or magic words. So that's the some of the texts that we use to study and read up on some of our philosophy on the soul.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we understand, right? Like, so again, um, there's no one specific place to understand these concepts, right?
No.
That these concepts are sprinkled throughout the whole of Kemetic culture and society, right? Like, so you'll find mentioning of these in different places and in different forms, and that's why it's important to study the text thoroughly and in order to have a better understanding of what you're talking about. So again, these references of the soul can be found in the Pert M. Haruda coffin text, as well as poems and things of that nature. And so you would have to do more than just look at one source in order to have an understanding for this. You have to be you have to be able to read Kemetic. You have to be able to understand these concepts throughout the entire culture, right? Because again, we're talking about a civilization that spanned over 3,000 years. So things change slightly as far as the understanding may be, but the foundation remains the same. So I think it's important that we keep that in mind. So there are 9 different components to the soul, as given to us by our Kemetic ancestors. The first would be the Ba, which is often associated with the personality. Is depicted as a human-headed bird and was unique. And it was a unique personality that could fly between the physical and spiritual realms. Next, we have the Ka, which is a life force, a person's spiritual double that remained tied to the body and the tomb, requiring refreshment from food and drink offerings. Next, we have the Ak, which is the transformed spirit, the immortal, unified spirit that was formed after a soul successfully passed the judgment of the Duat or the underworld. Next, we have the Ib or the heart, is considered the center of human thought, emotion, and memory. It was weighed against the feather of Ma'at in the hall of two truths. Next, we have the name, which is referred to as the Ren, and that's a crucial part of the soul. Egyptians believed that as long as a person's name was spoken, they would continue to exist. And we know, as we say, a person dies a second death when we cease to say their name. And so it's important. This is an important concept in African spirituality that we must make sure that we adhere to. The Shuat, which is the shadow, is an integral shadow self that accompanied every person and was closely linked to their survival. Next, we have the Kat, which is the physical body, the Sahu, the mortal vessel, and mummification was essential so that the other parts of the soul could return to their physical home. And again, this Kat, that a glorified body. If you see over here to the right, we have a glorified body, which is a Sahu. That's what the body is referred to after the mummification and all these rituals have been completed. Next, that's where you come a Sahu. And so that's another form or level of understanding how these concepts come together. So next we have the second, which is the vital energy or power of the deceased. And again, we have the Sahu, the form of a dead body that is mummified, the part of the body that is associated with the soul and can ascend to heaven and dwell with souls. So again, it's important for us to understand that these parts have to come together in order to be a complete glorified soul, a Sahu or an Ak. You have to have an understanding of all these parts and mastery. And so let us continue to move through these slides so that we can get through this. And so here we have a more detailed understanding of the Ba. So you want to read through this briefly? Let's kind of read through them briefly, not all of it, so we can get through all 9 parts.
Yeah, we'll give a brief little overview of each. So we'll start with the Ba, which basically the Ba is the personality. So in this sense, inanimate objects could also have a Ba, a unique character, and indeed old kingdom pyramids often were called the Ba of their owner. So the pyramids, the basically, they say the pyramids were tombs. Basically, they were looked at as what was left on the physical plane of that individual's personality, so to speak. So basically, your Ba is just what it symbolizes your personality.
Yeah, and
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I was just gonna say we don't have to read through the whole slide for purposes, but
and I think what we want to do is, more than anything, inspire you to get a better understanding of these concepts. Because again, like we said before, what you understand may not be the same as how we perceive it. Practitioners on different levels see things differently. Everyone has different experience and viewpoints and ways of looking at life. And so it's important for you to just take this framework and study for yourself. What the Bible say? Study to show yourself approved, right? Like you have to do this part of the work has to be done on an individual level. So let us continue. I think, but before I move past this slide, I just want to say I want to quote this part. It says, when a deity intervened in human affairs, it was said that the Ba of the deity were at work. And so I think that's interesting because we see the Ba depicted as a human-headed bird. That bird body gives it the ability or the philosophical idea that it's able to move throughout spaces freely. And so that's an important concept. Let us move to the next slide and part
before you start that one, let me respond to Ron Green. He says, I wish the Shrine of Ma'at was on every week. Jabari 1 week and you guys next week. Well, we are basically working on something like that, Sinron. We actually do and I guess I can say this, we do what we call a Seba'it discussion on the off Sundays when we don't have Kemetic Ascension. We've been doing those studies privately just amongst shrine members, but we are looking at moving forward doing them publicly on the actual Shrine of Ma'at page. So that's where this presentation really comes from. So just be looking out for that. We are going to start doing those publicly at some point. So do out for that comment, Senron.
Yeah, and let me just add to that again, like you just said, for Shrine of Ma'at members, that's actually the format that we have, right? Seba'it is normally on the off week from Kemetic Ascension. And so the majority of those Seba'it discussions are private, but we do have some that are public. So for those who are not members of the shrine and would like to see some of these public discussions, you can find them on the Shrine of Mods Facebook page. And since Jason and I are working to make some of these discussions smaller and more palatable so that people are able to take them in a way that is not overwhelming, right? Like so we're looking at trying to work with some ways to kind of reformat some of this stuff so that it's more presentable for the internet and for the public. Now, with that being said, you got to bear with us because we're quickly becoming the elders, right? Like so, some of this technology we've been trying to kind of figure out, but we will get this locked down and have that kind of format going for not only again for shrine members who should be aware, but as well as for public Kemetic practitioners, they can be involved in what's going on with the shrine as well. And so the next part of the soul that we want to speak about is the Ka, right? The Ka was the Egyptian concept of vital essence, which distinguishes the difference between a living and dead person. With death occurring when the Ka left the body, with death occurring when the Ka left the body. The Egyptians believed that Khnum created the bodies of children on a potter's wheel and inserted them into their mother's body. Depending on the region, Egyptians believed that Hedjet or Meshkenet was the creator of each person's Ka, breathing it into them at the instant of their birth as a part of their soul that made them to be alive. And so again, the Ka, which if you can see next to the name, this is actually the symbol for the Ka, the glyph for the Ka, right? Which is those two outstretched arms, and it's a concept that you will see repeated in tombs of Kemetic ancestors, of our Kemetic ancestors, and it has a specific power and a specific meaning. And so, not to get too deep into the underlying concepts of that, again, I encourage everyone to do more research on the Ka, that aspect of the soul, how important it is and how it plays into the whole overall. Now, and again, right, like we're going to be giving you a framework of how you should go forward with moving with this, because let us not forget that one of the main things that we're speaking about today is your ability to do this work yourself, right? What qualifies you to be an Ak? What qualifies you to be Ma'ak Heru? Again, is the things that you do within your lifetime. And so we want to be able to introduce these concepts, these deeper philosophical concepts, so that you can be able to do certain studies and be able to have a better understanding of it. Now, for those who are members of the Shrine of Ma'at, you know that we dive deeper into these concepts and talk about them more in depth. And those spaces, are always available to shrine members if need be. And so let us continue to move forward.
Before you move forward, Sin, I do kind of want to, because I think it's important. I do kind of want to read that second paragraph.
Go ahead, Sin.
Okay, so it says the Egyptians believed that the Ka was sustained through food and drink. For this reason, food and drink offerings were presented to the dead, although it was the Ka within the offerings that was consumed, not the physical aspect. So basically, things that you are offering to the deceased person's ka, that deceased person's ka is consuming the ka of your offerings. So I think that's an interesting concept because I like to think of the ka as like the breath of life, but it goes much deeper than that for someone who is deceased because that ka from the offering is what's sustaining that deceased person and keeping them quote unquote alive. So I just thought that was an interesting concept.
Yeah, and just to reiterate what you're saying again, right? Like it's important for us to continue this work after a person has become an ancestor. They still need to be sustained, right? This is why we honor Baba Heru. This is why we honor our personal ancestors, because what we're being told is that they have the ability to help us. They have the ability to work from us from that other side. But not if we're not sustaining them, right? Not if we're not giving them the things that they need in order to have the energy and the vital essence to do what they need to do from their side.
Right, I
Okay.
agree.
Now let us move through this.
One of the main parts of that is not only providing those offerings, but also continuing to speak their names. That's a very important part of that also.
You are.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, you fine. You perfectly fine. All right. The next part of the soul that we want to talk about is the Ak, which is translated into effective one, right? It was a concept of the dead that varied over a long period of ancient Egyptian belief. Relative to the afterlife, Ak represents the deceased who was transfigured and often identified with light. It was associated with thought, but not as an action of the mind. Rather, it was intellect as a living entity. That's interesting. Concept. The Ak also played a role in the afterlife. Following the death of the physical body, the Ba and the Ka were reunited to reanimate the Ak. The reanimation of the Ak was only possible if the proper funeral rites were executed and followed by constant offerings, right? Like, and I think this is interesting. This is an important concept that we have to understand, right? Like, as we're talking about becoming an Ak, right? Let's talk about becoming an Ak. You cannot become an Ak if your mummification ritual rites have not been performed correctly, right? And in order for those rituals, you can't perform those rituals yourself. If you are deceased, you cannot perform those rituals yourself. You cannot do the opening of the mouth ceremony on yourself. So again, back to that basic and fundamental concept. If you are not doing the things that you need to do in life that make people love and venerate you after death, nobody is going to want to do this ceremony for you, right? Like, who wants to do the opening of the mouth ceremony for somebody who only spewed isfet when they talked, right? So it's important for us to think about some of the things that we are doing within our lifetime, because again, when it's time for us to take advantage of these aspects of who we are, some of what needs to be done has to be done by people who love us. In order for us to get those people to do those things, we have to be doing what we're supposed to be doing today. So if you want to be an Ak, you want to be an effective spirit, you want to be transfigured, that means you got to start working on that now. You cannot wait until the end. You cannot wait until, again, you on your deathbed to say, you know what? Let me combine all 9 parts of my soul now. No, it does not necessarily work like that. You have to start doing these things and have to start working on this now, which is why we talk about our Kepler process so much. It's an ongoing, constant, everyday thing. We talk about the relationships and bonds that we have with one another. These are things that we have to work on and maintain so that when it's time for us to be what we need to be, those who love us will be willing to show up. And so I just wanted to add that to that as we talk about the Ark, right? We talk about that. So, and again, like I said, we are unable to do these things. We're unable to do these things ourselves. So we have to understand that on all levels of who we are. And that goes for, like we said, what we say, what we do, and what we think. Start thinking about how those things affect each other, and not in a sympathetic way, but in an empathetic way, right? Like we have to start practicing empathy more as a people, in order that we can have a clear understanding of how things that don't seem to be directly affecting me, how those things affect me, and how the things that I do can affect others, and in turn how we work together with one another. So let us move to the next slide. And again, I hope that we're giving you guys a good fundamental understanding of these 9 parts. But that's all that we're gonna do here. That's the only our only goal is to give you a foundation so that you can do some of this work yourself.
Okay. All right. All right. So the next one is going to be the ib. Now, the ib, you will hear it pronounced as the ob sometimes. So don't get caught up in the semantics of that. But the ib is an important part of the Kemetic soul. Was thought to be the ib or the heart. In Kemetic religion, the heart was the key to the afterlife. It was essential to surviving death in the netherworld, whether it gave evidence for or against its possessor. Like the physical body, the heart was a necessary part of judgment in the afterlife, and it was to be carefully preserved and stored within the mummified body, with a heart scarab carefully secured to the body above it to prevent it from telling tales, according to the text of the books of breathing. So they drag Osiris into the, well, we don't need to read that, but you all get that. That one is really pretty much straightforward. The heart must be preserved. If the heart needs to be weighed to prove a person's guilt or innocence, then it must be preserved. So that one is pretty much straightforward.
Yeah.
Right, I agree, Sinette Cheryl. It is the real brain when it comes to judgment. I agree.
Yeah, and I concur as well. Then, and this further reiterates what we said earlier, right? Like as we see our ancestors leading with their left foot forward. They understood that their heart was there, and that this is how they needed to move. This is how they needed to move in their divinity, right? This is again a reminder of your divinity and how you should carry yourself, not only in your community, but in this universe, so to speak, how you fit into reality. So let us move forward to the next slide. Okay. Now, this you want to talk about the Ren saying?
I can speak on the Ren. Yeah, I think I passed it. Okay, so the Ren is a person's name. It was is an essential aspect of individuality and central to one's survival after death. Most ancient Egyptian names embodied a meaning which was believed to have a direct relationship with its owner. Placing a name on a statue ceded the image to the dead named, providing a second body. The obliteration of a name from an object or monument destroyed this connection, and in some cases was done intentionally to hinder one's prospects in the afterlife. So, as I said earlier, a very important part of keeping, our deceased loved ones alive is to continue speaking their name. Your name is connected to everything about you. Now, as many of you know, like the pharaohs or kings in ancient Kemet had several names. They took on several names, and each name had a unique connection to that individual. And that name is actually attached to your purpose also.
Mm-hmm.
So as of right now, I'm in the process of working on my Kemetic name. I just have to figure that out with what my purpose is, and not only what my purpose actually is, what my journey to that purpose is going to be, or is already, I should say. But speaking that name is what keeps the person, your loved ones, your elders, anyone who you feel deserves veneration, speaking their names help keep them alive and keep them with you. So we all should remember that when we lose loved ones, as many of us have recently, please continue to say their names. That's a very important part of that legacy, of their legacy. So, anything you want to speak on about that, Sin?
Actually, seeing you said it as eloquently. I couldn't do it any better. Like, again, the important thing is that, and I tell this to my children a lot, right? Like, I tell them, listen, don't forget me when I die.
Right.
Don't forget where I'm at. Don't forget what I taught you. Don't forget just because I'm not here. Don't forget me, right? As long as you remember me, I am here, right? We our ancestors live in our thoughts and in our hearts, right? And in our memories, right? As long as we keep those, then they're here, right? Like in our understanding of spirituality, we understand that they have the ability to work for us on the other side. And so it's important for us, again, just to remember us, remember our ancestors and our elders. So I just want to add this in. Keep continuing to call the names. It may seem like an insignificant task, but it's just interesting because I think about if I was an ancestor, right? Think about if you were an ancestor, right? Like that may be a strange concept to think about, but think about if you was dead and you just watched everybody go on with their life and was like, man, forget my daddy and everything he taught me and all this, and you just watching them do everything. Don't nobody think about you. Don't nobody care about you or none of that other type of stuff. How would that make you feel? How would that make you feel? And so which further takes us back to that concept of empathy that we were talking about, right? Like we have to be able to as Africans understand that we can relate to each other on so many different levels. And so I think that's an important. So let us move forward to
You definitely want to make sure you're living a life that makes the people that you leave behind when you do transition want to keep speaking your name in a
yeah.
positive manner, because they can speak your name and it not be in a positive manner. You know what I mean? It may be due to some of your actions during your life. You don't want them to speak ill of you after your transition. So you want to
Yeah.
make sure you're doing things that make people want to speak of you in a divine light.
Yep. And that's something that we talk about all the time, talking about just building equity in those relationships, right? Like you have to show up and, be supportive to one another. It's just basic concepts. Do unto others as you would want them to do to you, right? Like the universe is only going to give you what you give it, right? Like, so you can't expect to be loved after death if you don't even love the ones that loved you and they've transitioned. So we have to keep that in mind.
Definitely.
All right. The next part of the soul that we want to talk about is the shuat, the suit. or the person's shadow or silhouette. It's always be present. And because of this, Egyptians surmised that the shadow contains something of the person it represents. Through this association, statues of people and deities were sometimes referred to as shadows. All right, let's just some basic key aspects, key characteristics of the shoe or the suit are that it's a powerful guardian, right? Far from being a symbol of evil or horror, the shadow represents comfort, presence, and protection. Funerary texts like the Pert Imheru highlight it as an entity that guards the soul and moves with extreme speed through the earthly and spiritual realms. Visual representation. In hieroglyphs and tomb artwork, the suit was drawn as a complete silhouette of a human painted entirely black. The black color carried a double meaning. It mirrored the physical darkness of a literal shadow, but it also symbolized the fertile, life-giving black soil of the Nile Valley. Okay, which is just one way of seeing, or just two symbolic ways of seeing that black. And in our studies, we talk about more deeper philosophical concepts for seeing that, but that's something for a later date.
Right.
The solar connection, which I think is extremely interesting. The suit was intrinsically tied to the sun god Ra. Just as a shadow disappears when darkness falls and is reborn every morning when the sun dies, the suit symbolizes the soul's ability to be reborn every day. Now, this is very interesting, Sin, because if we talk about the Kepler process and the process of renewal and death and regeneration, the phoenix and things of that. These are all, again, concepts that we will see constantly repeated, right? It's important for us to understand the fundamentals of these because these are the fundamentals that help us to see the cohesiveness of this whole society, right? Of this whole 3,000 year culture and civilization, right? In order for us to have a way to connect dynasty 0 or pre-dynastic Kemet to the way we practice our spirituality today, these fundamentals help us to have that baseline and be able to understand and be able to see the way these things coincide with one another. And so again, some of the deeper philosophical concepts are important to understand. And dealing with the shadow, I think, is an interesting way for us to look at this philosophically because of what it represents, not only physically, but metaphysically and spiritually, right? That shadow that appears based on your position with the sun and its reflection of you and its disappearance and things of that nature. These are some concepts that I think could benefit from some real introspective work, as well as some real conversations and study. And so I think that as we move forward in understanding how these 9 parts come together to make us who we are and how we foster all these different parts and orchestrate a complete sahu, it's important for us to just get further in a philosophical in a deeper understanding of some of these concepts. All right. Now let us move forward to our next part of the soul that makes up the part of the soul, which is the cot.
Mm-hmm.
The cot. Oh, you know what? My camera. Okay.
I can take it, Sam, if you
Say
want.
that again.
I can take this one if you want.
Go ahead, Sam. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the cot, or you may hear it pronounced as the ket, but it symbolizes the physical form, which was essential for the soul, the ka and the ba, to have intelligence and be judged by underworld guardians or deities. Preservation via complete mummification and a personalized decorated burial chamber with paintings and statuary showing scenes from life accomplishments was critical. Now, there was a shift in practice because mummification initially was reserved for pharaohs in the Old Kingdom, but was granted to all dead by the Middle Kingdom, offering tiers of quality observed by Herodotus, which we know we have some problems with Herodotus, those of us who study history, but he did tell a lot of the truth also.
Mm-hmm.
And so he stated that with the best and most expensive kind, and that represented the representation of Asar. Middle Kingdom burial chambers featured detailed paintings of favorite pastimes and accomplishments alongside Ushabti. Ushabti would be the little figurines of people, sometimes servants, even family members in some cases, um, guards, slaves, and sometimes even pets to serve the deceased in the afterlife. The funeral rites went, the soul was awakened through rituals like the opening of the mouth ceremony, as mentioned previously, best depicted within Pharaoh Seti's tomb with reliefs, paintings of priests, and liturgical texts designed to reanimate each section of the liturgy for opening should be the mouth. This ritual which would be performed during interment was at, oh boy, they messed that up.
Yeah, they messed that up.
I believe that's I believe that's supposed to be like an integral section by head, limbs, etc., that the spiritual body could use to move in the afterlife. So basically the cot is the physical aspect of your spiritual journey into
Mm-hmm.
the afterlife. That's basically what that is. So
Yeah.
I don't think that needs a whole lot of explanation, but there was a lot of typos there. So I
Yeah,
hope
and that's and
basic
that's
stuff.
yeah, and we apologize for those typos. That's some of us trying to trying to use AI to convert our text into something that's more visually appealing, which is not correct all the time. And we didn't necessarily have the time to go back to kind of edit through this. But I think everyone has a clear understanding of what we're referring to, right? The cot represents that physical body, not yet the mummified body, but the
Right.
physical body that has to be that's being prepared for those rituals, those funerary rituals. All right, now let's talk about second. Oh, okay, okay. Let's talk about the second. And the ancient Egyptian concept of the soul, Sekhem represents the incorporeal personification of the vital force or divine power of the soul. Rather than being a standalone spirit, it is one of the multiple facets, often counted among the 5, 7, or 9 components that make up a complete human personality and spiritual blueprint. All right. Key characteristics are the power of the afterlife. The Sekhem is generally understood as the living, active energy that manifests after a person passes away. It exists in the heavenly realm once the deceased has successfully passed the final judgment and been deemed worthy. Ma'ak Heru, the divine dwelling. According to ancient funerary texts like the Pert Imheru, the Sekhem is described not only as a personal power, but also as a celestial space where the underworld gods Heru and Asar dwell. Asar himself was frequently designated as the Great Sekhem, or foremost of powers, control and agency. Unlike more static elements of the body, the Sekhem allowed the perfected soul, or the Akh, to manipulate and control its physical surroundings, navigate the underworld, and exercise authority in the afterlife. And its symbolic representation, the term secum literally translates to power, might, or form. In physical artifacts, reliefs, and hieroglyphs, it is most famously represented by the secum scepter, which you can see an image of that scepter here, where this mouse is going. Okay. The scepter served as a ritual badge of office held by pharaohs, priests, and deities to symbolize divine authority, control over life forces, and spiritual dominion. It was also closely connected with Anpu, who is regularly depicted with the scepter resting near him. And so, just a basic breakdown. The secum is described as a vital, is described as a power or energy, a life energy that you acquire after you become an Ak, right? Like after, this is an energy or a power that's activated after you have become an ancestor, and allows you the energy or the power to facilitate those things that you do as an Ak, as an effective spirit on both the spiritual and physical plane, right? And I think this is one of those parts or concepts of the soul that are complementary to other parts that help to again engage and give power to the other parts that help to make this thing work, so to speak. So did you want to add to that any Sin Jason?
No, no, I'm good, Sam. I think you covered it well.
Okay. All right. Now let's move to aha. This leads us to the very last part of the soul, which is referred to as the Sa, right? And the Sa in ancient Egyptian mythology also spelled Sahu. And that's interesting, right? Because we talked about this when we first talked about these parts of the soul. Is the glorified spiritual body that forms after a person dies, provided all proper mummification and funerary rituals are completed successfully. Let's read that again. The Sa is the glorified spiritual body that forms after a person dies. After you become an elder, right? Provided all proper mummification and funerary rites are completed successfully. So again, we're going back to the same concept and conversation that we've been having. What are you doing now in order to make sure that when it's time for you to become a Sa, those who love you and your community, your family, your peers, not necessarily admire, but they venerate you enough to complete these concepts, to complete these rites successfully, right? So again, you cannot be, and that's interesting when we think about it, because if we think about the concept of I am because we are, and we are because I am, I cannot be a Sa. I cannot become a Sa if we don't do it together, right? Like if we don't put me back together, I can't do it alone. And so again, these concepts are extremely interesting when you look at them spiritually, philosophically, and in metaphysics, any area that you can apply understanding of community work and aspect. These things are important for us to understand, because what this further tells us, I can't be who I am without the community behind me, right? I cannot be, we cannot be who we are without each individual understanding and playing their parts and things like that. And so I think that this is an extremely important concept for us to understand, because this is talking about veneration after death. Mm-hmm. You have to do what you have to do for those to venerate you when it's time for these processes to be performed. And so I think that that's an extremely important concept that as practitioners we need to continue to study and grasp, so that we are able to apply this understanding in everything that we do. So
I think the overall concept of all of this, I know we're going through the 9 parts of the soul, but I think the overall message in this is that you must live a life to which, when you do transition, the people you leave behind want to venerate you. Mm-hmm. So they are willing to perform these rituals. They are willing to continue to speak your name. Mm-hmm. They're willing to keep you with them as long as possible. Mm-hmm. I think that's the overall message in all of it. Yeah. I'm sure everyone is getting that.
Yeah. And think about the process, right? It was a 70-day process.
Yes.
70 days. You have to, right? Like, after someone dies and changes form and they gone, we can easily forget about them.
Easily.
We could easily forget about them. But you telling me that for 70 days, I have to deal with my ancestors' dead remains in order to perform and take care and love and do some of these things that may seem may seem, I won't say outlandish or scary, but think about how scary. Who want to be doing the mummification rites for their mother or something like that. Just think about the morbid, the concept of that, right? Like, but think about 70 days.
It would take an extreme amount of love and desire to venerate a person to deal with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but that's the type of life you have to live, a life that warrants that.
Yeah. And let us just go through these again, or continue to talk about this. The Sahu is not given at birth, but it is achieved only post-mortem. The Sahu is not given at birth, but is only achieved post-mortem, which means you cannot make yourself a Sahu. You cannot. And I think that that's interesting, right? Like, this is the part of this concept, or this part of the judgment scene and our understanding of what happens next and all this. This is a part that we don't necessarily talk about and has to be continuously reiterated, right? Because, again, you don't do this for yourself. Baba Heru is Sahu because we made him Sahu. We continue to venerate and love him after he's passed. Think about some people in your life. Think about it, because I'm sure all of us know some who at some point after they transition, we stop thinking about them, stop caring about them, stop calling their name and things of that nature. We done those people an injustice. We've done them an injustice. And I think it's important that we remember this, right? Like, we can say, like, and then you have to do the things in order for you to do in your life in order for you to become an ancestor. But if we don't do our part, then we are, we've dispelled everything that a person has done in their life, right? We have not given any credence or we have not given any importance to who they are and what they've done. If we just say, okay, Baba Heru did all this, that's it. Now that's it. We don't We have to complete the process in order for our ancestors to become Sahu. And that is important. That is extremely important. We have to remember that.
And to make sure that whatever work they were doing when they transition, if there's a need for that work to continue, we have to make sure we are continuing that work.
Exactly. Let us continue. The mummification leak, when a physical body or cot is mummified, the physical form is transformed by magic and rituals into the Sahu. And when we say magic and rituals, we know what we're referring to. We're speaking that heka. We're doing those the opening of the way ceremony. We're getting ourselves in tune and in the right frame of mind so that we can be able to venerate our ancestor and be able to perform these rituals and rites with the purest intentions, right? With the understanding that what we're doing will help to make this ancestor a Sahu and effective Ak that they need to be. The deceased person must be judged worthy by Asar and the nature of the underworld for the Sa to properly manifest, right? Like this is what when we talk about the different levels of progression in I want to say the duad, right? Like when we talk about the different stages and things of that nature, we again have to understand, right? Like what we're talking about is being able to have the relationships and the bonds and the love, not only with those while you're here, and we're gonna keep saying the same thing, having that bond with the people while you're here, so that when you become a Sa, people are doing the things that need to be done so that you can continue to be effective, right? Like, because after we make you a Sa, that's not it, right? Like, you don't just sit on the throne and just be sitting there, right? Like, we have to actively continue to give people the power and the sustenance that they need in order to continue to do the work. So as we talk about that Ka and doing offerings and working your altar and continuing to continue to call one's name, this is how you make that person an effective Ak. And again, as we understand, this is a part of the work that we have to do. We still owe an obligation to our elders, even though they're not here, right? Like if we think about our elders and how much they give to us before they transition, we owe them and we have to give back with our life, right? The life energy that we have, we give back to them, and they in turn give us that spiritual life energy and guidance. And so that is extremely important. Once formed, this spiritual body possesses the mental and spiritual faculties required to dwell amongst the natural spirits and other souls in the fields of reeds. These are extremely deep Kemetic concepts that we talk about behind closed doors, right? Like these are some of the concepts that require certain levels of initiation to be able to understand. Him that it came. Oh, okay, is he coming in? He coming in to kick us out?
Not at all. Just making sure I'm connected, so that when you're done, or if you need assistance, I'm here.
Yeah, we finna
keep cooking. Keep cooking.
Well, we finna be finishing up here within probably the next 10 minutes. Him that we had to take a cue from you. We had to keep, when we in the mood, we had to keep going. So
I am not rushing. I'm sure the entire community, the family's enjoying the level of scholarship that comes into a really critical idea in Kemetic spirituality and philosophy. So I'm going to say dua to you all publicly, and I'm going to bounce out again.
Wow.
Dua to you, Himnetta. We appreciate that, and we hope that if nothing else, that we are doing justice by our ancestors by presenting these concepts and hoping that everyone is getting a understanding of it. Because again, as we'll say again, we're gonna reiterate it. We're not the experts on these concepts, right? We're Kemetic practitioners and students, just like the whole of this community in our shrine. And so again, we just want to just be able to help each other have an understanding of some of these deeper concepts that will help make us the best possible people that we can be. And so let us move forward, Sin, so we can kind of see it. Go ahead. What you saying, Sin?
No, I was just saying we always like to stress that no, we are not experts in this. We're not priests. We're not experts. We're just practitioners, and we do a lot of study, but we are not experts. So it is definitely up to everyone. All if you're in the audience, it's up to you to further study and dig into these concepts. And hey, if you see places where we may be incorrect, we welcome your correction also. You know what I mean? But we're just giving you what we've come up with our own study.
Yeah.
I always want to stress that.
Yeah. Okay, and let's move forward. And this last part says in vengeance, in the Egyptian lore, if the deceased was wronged in life, the Sa could sometimes act as an avenging spirit, returning from the Duat to seek justice. And I think that's important. That's something that we don't necessarily think about and stuff, right? Like we practice Ma'at. It's balance to this, right? So we understand we can be, I can be just as unholy as I am holy, right? Exactly. We understand that we have nature that we can call on, and then these energies that we can manifest if need be. I think one of my favorite nature to associate with is Mantu or Mintu, right? Like that warrior nature, right? The one that's ready to go to battle, the one that is ready to defend and things of that nature. Mantu is a form of Heru, but in a bull form, right? He takes on this form because he's ready to tear something up, right? And sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have to call on the ancestors and the Neteru in order for us to defend ourselves and things. That don't get it twisted. It ain't we not just waving soft flag. We're not gonna be praying when you come over here and try to get at us. So we also understand that we have to be able to control both realms, so to speak, right? We have to have power over both extremes, right? And this is why our ancestors were able to give us nature and examples of those energies so that we can better understand how to harness them and how to take control of them. For those who are familiar with Kemetic spirituality and nature, I implore you to research more the characteristics of both Bast and Sekhmet, right? And that'll give you a better understanding of how we see these two concepts on both extremes and how we are able to use both of those energies in order to get things accomplished that we need to get accomplished. Because again, it's not just again, we're not just praying and reading the holy books all the time. Sometimes we got to stand up. Sometimes it requires a little bit of aggressiveness, and so we have those nature that we are able to do that as well. And so just really quickly, so if you think about what you're able to do as in that instance in being a Sa, an Ak, an effective spirit, when you call on those effective spirits and things, you know what is interesting? Think about the Black Panther in the movie. the second one, when Neri, when she wanted to go talk, who she wanted to go talk to, her mother? Oh, she wanted to go talk to her brother, but she ended up running into her cousin, right? She didn't understand that was the energy that she needed to manifest at that time, right? And so it's important for us to understand that all of these are available to us. And as we continuously progress in our ability to foster and use these energies, we understand that the higher we get in our ability to practice and our understanding of these concepts, we have a better control of them. So
okay, just real quick, San, to kind of veggie back off what you're saying, I see Sanette Sakina Ra posted in the chat, Maya is balance, and that's totally true. Most of us probably are coming from a Christian background. In Christianity, you have a concept of good and evil. Well, in our Kemetic practice, we do have similar concept, but I think for coming from the Christian background, you're what you're doing is you want to totally wipe out the concept of evil. It's a little different in our practice because we don't necessarily want to do away with that concept because it's actually necessary. The balance is both. You have to have the quote unquote good, but you also have to have to have the quote unquote evil to balance everything out. We have Mayat and then we have Isfet. We have Heru and then we have Asar and then we have Set. So it's a balance that's most important because as Senator Tom was just saying, there are going to come those times where you need to call on that set energy. You know what I mean? That energy that's ready to go to battle at any time, which Heru is also, but we need both, especially in this world we live in right now. We need both. So just want to throw that in there, saying you explained it perfectly though.
Do I? And so and I appreciate you adding that to that, Sin, because again, some people may not, because you said, like you said, most of us are coming from a Christian paradigm, right? Most followers are come from a Christian, so it's important for us to understand how we see things as opposed to how others see things, and like you said, we don't call it evil. We don't,
No.
you can't blame it on the devil. Oh, the devil.
Right.
The devil working today. Nah, is the devil working, or you just don't want to accept responsibility
Your
for what you out here doing?
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Can't blame it on somebody. I'm gonna blame it on the devil my whole life, and then right before I give up the ghost, I'm forgiven. No, that's not how that works.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Just as we've been talking, if you wait to the end to ask for forgiveness, they're not gonna venerate you. If you wait until the last minute to try to rectify those relationships, if you wait to the last minute to try to sarouge my eye, to try to better yourself, it's let me tell you, I don't think that's the best way to go about doing it, right? Like, again, as Kemetic practitioners, we understand that this is an ongoing everyday process. Just like we just said, the sun and the shadow, the sun and the suit, they tell a tale, right? They tell a tale. Every day you die, every day the sun rises, it gives us an opportunity to rectify what happened yesterday. That's it. That's all we can do. Moving forward, we have to sarouge what happened yesterday and try to do better today and tomorrow. That's it. And so it's important that we understand that. And so I think, saying, I don't want to go into that last concept. Let's save that last slide.
Yeah.
Because I think that's something that we talk about again once you've gone through certain initiatory levels, right? Like, again, it's important for you to to have an understanding of certain fundamental concepts so that you can be able to grasp some of these deeper philosophical concepts. And so for those of you who are Shrine of Ma'at members, I implore you to continue to participate in Seba'it, and adoration and things like that, because these are the places that you're going to get your deeper understanding of these concepts. For those of you who are not members of the Shrine of Ma'at or any other Kemetic spiritual house, I implore you to do the research for yourself to have an understanding of these things, but still a lot of this requires initiation, right? A lot of this requires initiation. It requires a group that can help you understand these concepts, people that can relate to you, and things of that nature. So for those who are not members of the Shrine of Mind and who would like to have a better understanding of things, I implore you to look out for our initiation class that's coming up. I know Himnetta and Abu Shashad have been working on things in the background, putting together another initiatory class. And so if this is something that you want to have a deeper understanding of and how to apply these things, then I implore you to get in the spaces where we're having these concepts, where we're having these conversations. But then not only are we having these conversations, but we walking the walk, right? Like we're not perfect. Don't get it twisted. None of us are perfect. But we are doing our best to walk the walk. We're doing our best to apply these concepts and things that we're doing every day. And so if this is something that you think that is important to you, then again, I implore you to get into the spaces where things like this are happening. And so again, I think we're going to stop here because some of what we need to talk about, again, requires certain levels of initiation. And we may be on here another 3-4 hours talking about just the one slide we got next. And so with that being said, I want to thank everybody for taking their time to be here with us today. We appreciate your patience. We appreciate everyone's conversation and support for us being able to present these concepts to our community. And we want to ask that, again, let's not take what we're learning here. Let's re-engage ourselves in some of these deeper understandings of these concepts, right? For those who are Kemetic practitioners, for those who are scholars, for those who are just interested in history and things of that nature, again, I ask that you take some of these concepts and just dive deeper in them and understand how you can apply some of this ancient knowledge to how you live and how we live today. And so, Sam, did you want to add anything?
Yeah,
before we
go,
close?
for those who may be interested in becoming fully initiated members of the Shrine of Ma'at, just know that the applications for initiation are on the website at shrineofma'at.org. You can always go on there. I don't know exactly when initiation is going to begin, but the applications are available on the website, shrineofma'at.org. And I do just want to say thanks, Dua, to everyone for being here today. I know this was a bit different from everyone, seeing our faces and not seeing our Himnetter and Tempe, but we were happy to do it. And you may see us a little more often. As I said, we want to start at some point doing our Seba'it study on the off Sundays that we don't have Kemetic Ascension. We want to do that more publicly, do it publicly more often. So we'll be letting you all know about that. Other than that, once again, just dua for everyone being here today. This was really good. I really,
Right.
really
And
appreciate it.
Hemnetta and Tepi, I know you somewhere in the background. Did you want to come in and say anything before we close or as we closing out? Because I think since Jason and I have pretty much oh, hold on, Sinet.
Before you, yeah, Sinet Nebsini, I don't know if you're are you in our Shrine intro page? Because you can actually get in touch with all of us there. If not, let us know what your Facebook handle is, and we can certainly get you invited.
Yeah, we need to figure out how we can best communicate with you.
Yes.
Sinet. Yeah, I know she wasn't on Facebook, and I know she was on Instagram. I'm not sure if she was on Instagram. Let me see. I think you can send messages and stuff personally to people. Need to put the phone number or something in there. Maybe she can contact. I want to put my phone number, but I don't want to necessarily to be public. Yeah, Sinet, drop your email in here for us.
Right. Give us
an email. Do our Sinet Cortia. That's a good idea. Give us an email. That way we can reach out to you through that. And then if we're able, any links or anything like that of what we have going on, we can share with you there.
Okay, I'm putting my email address in the chat. Sinet Nebsini, feel free to hold on.
And then this is not only, and it's so never to see Sinet Nebsini in the chat. But yes, this is a call to all of the Shrine of Maya members, right? Like and this is something that we've talked about before, right? Like we have I'm sure of the fact that many of us has prioritized our spiritual walk, right? Like this is important to us, and it's important that we do the things in order to be the best Kemetic practitioners we can. But as we move into this new stage, it's important for us to prioritize our spiritual organization, right? Like our spiritual house. We have to come back into the fold. Let's tighten up so that when it's time for us to move forward with some of the things that we want to do, we will have a community of resources, of scholars, of people, so that we can present the best possible solutions to some of these problems and things of that nature. So I implore all of Shrine of Maya members to participate, not just in Kemetic Ascension, Sebaid, adoration, reunions. We have other things going on as well that I shared and talked about privately. So we'd like to see some of you guys' faces there, more active, those other classes and things of that nature. So again, it's excellent, and I'm so happy that we see Sinet Nebsini back in this chat, because again, as we initiated in 22, she was a vocal part of our initiation. She was there as we all galvanized and kind of were able to grasp understanding of what we were doing. She was there learning with us as well. And so I would love to see her back into the fold with her understanding of certain things and things like that. What we do is just compliment and help one another, right? When we compliment and help one another. And I think that's what's important, is that we keep in mind that we are community and that we are family, right? Like, I'm gonna get off here because I'm gonna keep on talking, seeing. But one of the things that we need to make sure that the whole public in the Kemetic community understands about the Shrine of Ma'at is that we family, right? Like, this is beyond our Kemetic practice, the scholarship and things that we do. We are family. right? Like these people that I have met will likely be some of the people who will be performing the opening of the mouth ceremony for me. Some of these people I've met in the shrine will be those people that will be continuing the work that will help to make us Sahs and Sahu. And so it's important for us to continue to build these bonds with one another, and to have that type of bond, right? Because superficial relationships is one thing, right? Like we can relate over us having an understanding of the knowledge. We can relate because we both like to, wear Nubia or some or anything like that. But again, those deeper bonds, those familial bonds that we have created, those are going to be the bonds that are going to help us to stay connected throughout our lifetimes and until the end. And so I think with that,
Sam, before we log off, I see Abusa Shot and Sanet Nebseni are trying to connect via email, and it looks like the email keeps bouncing. So I do want to stay on for a second to make sure they can exchange information.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Make sure we don't lose touch with our dear sister Nebseni again.
Yeah. And I think if Himnetta is somewhere, if he can hear us, I think this might be a good place for him to come in and close if he wants to.
Right. And I did put it wouldn't let me put my email in the chat here in the StreamYard, but I did put it in the YouTube chat by itself. So Sanet Nebseni, if you can scroll back and at least take down my email also. I don't know why it won't let us put emails in the StreamYard, in the chat from StreamYard though.
Let me see if I can put mine in here. You know what, Sam? We may need, we do that on kind of Facebook. We may, oh no, this comment has failed to post to.
Yeah, that's how I did mine too. I don't know why it won't let me, but
it told you the same thing.
Can my aunt hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you in there.
We can hear you in Tepe.
Can I just say, give a large and much deserved dua to both Sen Atan and Sen Jason for ably leading Kemetic Ascension today. You have heard me say umpteen times that Kemetic Ascension is too Hemnetta and Tepe Jabari Osaze focused. Can I say dua to them? I'm driving back to New York City, and I would not have been able to run Kemetic Ascension. I just have to say dua to them for doing what they do in the way that they always do. Dua. And for those of you who are full shrine members, who may be members of the Brentwood who are watching, please understand that you may be asked at a time to come and assist with Kemetic Ascension. So I just want to say dua to them once again and give you a final affirmation. May I say, Amasu and Pa and Ter, Soltumita and Pa and Ter, Autuauta Maketi Pa Hedura, which means give yourself to one Most High, keep yourself daily for the divine, and do it tomorrow just as you have done it today. Can I say Shem and Ma'at to all of you? Please go forth in divine balance. We will see you soon.